Jake, this one's coming to you. Next topic. Talking about the Sixers. And this is because we did have you on the show. That's why I wanted to include this. And James Harden, a lot in the Discord has been talked about. What exactly the Sixers are going to give up? Apparently, the Rockets want Ben Simmons. They want picks. They want all the capital that the Sixers have. I'm just going to put you on the spot, my man. If you are the Sixers, how are you building a trade to get it done? And will the Sixers get it done to get James Harden on their team this year?
There's one of two trades. The first trade is Ben Simmons and a pick. You're not giving up 3 first-round picks and Ben Simmons to get James Harden. I'm sorry. You're not giving up 3 first-round picks to do that. You're selling the future with giving away Ben Simmons. If they don't want to take Ben Simmons, who's going to be, if he learns to shoot a top 5 player in the NBA for the second half of his career, then so be it. The other trade is I haven't done the salaries. I don't know exactly how they work out. But it is the Tobias Harris, Matisse Thybulle, Maxey, and 4 first-round picks to keep Ben Simmons and have Ben, Joe, and Harden. Now, the whole thing comes down to the Sixers aren't willing to part with Ben Simmons as of now. I think that's more of what Morey has said over and over again is teams try to have their roster perfect on day one instead of just playing the season and then adjusting as the season goes on. I think they want to see what they have with this new roster. I'm currently watching the game. I just saw Seth Curry and Joel Embiid do a dribble handoff, and Curry shot a pull-up jumper, and I haven't seen one of those in about 4 years.
Signs of JJ Redick right there.
Yep, exactly. So
also,
I think
the contracts do work in the Toby deal, by the way. The only thing that's a hiccup is when you can do it because of Maxey's recently signed.
Yep, and I don't think it would happen anytime soon anyways. I am emotionally attached to Ben Simmons. He's my favorite player in the NBA. If it came down to Ben Simmons and a pick for Harden, I think you're stupid not to do it. The whole point of building a franchise is to get a player like James Harden on your team. And James Harden and Joel Embiid would be the best pick and roll duo since Kobe and Shaq. So it would be, I'd be excited either way. If they could somehow pull off the deal without having to give up Ben Simmons, then Daryl Morey is just a wizard.
Yeah, I think part of the problem is that Daryl Morey is who he is, and the Rockets front office knows it.
Yep.
And they will not be taken advantage of. That's what it feels like. Unless James Harden forces their hand, he's already committed to, hey, I'll play some games. I will come back. If we get to the point where he tweaks something, air quoting that shit, and he's going to be out for a while, then you have a problem. Then you have to address that on the spot. But if he's willing to play basketball, I don't see him being moved. I think this is the storm has passed for the moment.
Yep.
It's very tough to say that. The Sixers definitely have the best offer. I think that, like you said, Ben Simmons is a top talent in the NBA, and he's probably the best player you could get back for James Harden right now. But I just don't see that fractured relationship with the front office and the Rockets, and Fertitta being an absolute fucking idiot will not allow for that trade to happen in my mind.
I do want to throw in if John Wall is going to stay there, that Tobias Harris trade makes them a better team than playing John Wall and Ben Simmons together. And I know that is completely far-fetched because Ben Simmons is a great player. But if you would throw a starting lineup out there that included somebody like John Wall, Tobias Harris, Thybulle, and PJ Tucker and a shooter, that is a better team than throwing out there. Unless you're going to play Ben Simmons at center, then
Don't forget they have Boogie and Christian Wood too.
Yes, he would. Big contract.
So Tobias Harris is a better fit for that team. But if you're going for true value, you're not going to get a better deal than you're going to get the Ben Simmons.
Yeah, and again, we're arguing about pick 23 through 30 year, Yep. That's the crazy thing to me. Value-wise, again, they're still first rounders. I understand the contract control, the long-term control over these players, but it does seem kind of crazy. And that's why I think the Bucks deal looks crazy on paper, but when you look at it, it's okay, they're giving up, multiple first rounders and then pick swaps. But again, you're expecting those picks to be, Bucks are such a good team, 25 through 30, who the shit cares about that pick? The hit rate for 25 through 30 is so low.
Sorry, Taco Fall just came in and stole a pass right off the bat. sorry.
Taco Fall do that. Taco Fall enters the game and he gets a standing ovation.
I just want to, I will say on terms of the Sixers giving up first round picks to get James, it's not so much that I've struggled to give up Ben Simmons in the first place because Ben Simmons is a great talent and he is 24 years old. So I have a problem giving. I don't have a problem giving up Ben Simmons, but then when you add that much more value on top of it, is when I kind of, and the guy doesn't even want to play there. It's hard.
Yeah.
If you get James Harden to agree to a 4-year extension right off the bat, then just like in the Bucks deal, now the Drew Holiday deal is fine because you have Giannis staying. The whole thing was that deal might be terrible because Giannis might not stay. Obviously, they knew more than we did. So it's all optics at the moment. If you trade for James Harden and he signs an extension, then, I mean, you have Embiid and Harden together for years to come.
Do you think Harden will finish the season on the Rockets this year?
Yes.
No. I think he gets
Ricky,
traded.
let's hear. Ricky, why do you think he won't?
I just think he gets traded. I think that the relationship between them is basically, I think Harden's coming back now because he realizes, I'm not helping myself. I'm not helping the optics, like you said, of me getting traded, and I'm shooting myself in the foot. So it's basically, I'll come back, play nice, but I want to be dealt. Like, that's the bottom line. And the longer the Rockets, you're playing with a ticking time bomb. Basically, like, you already have seen how irrational Harden can act. Like, you're dealing with a ticking time bomb. The longer this waits out, if he gets hurt, or if it's something to where it's like, I don't even think you want to trade me, like you're trying to say, well, fuck me, then you're just dealing with it could blow up in the offseason. And then you're dealing with this all over again. It's just, to me, who's gonna come up with the assets and who's going to get the deal done? Is it going to be the Nets? Is it going to be the 76ers? Is it going to be the Bucks? Is it going to be the Heat? Is it going to be anybody that we've thrown out there? The thing with the Sixers I've been thinking right now is, I'm trying to think, there's two questions to this. Number one, and Jake, I'll ask you because you're the resident Sixer fan, obviously for all of Sixer Nation here on the show.
I try.
The number one question I would ask you is, can the Sixers win a title with Ben and Joe? That's the first question you got to ask.
Yes, they can win a title,
Okay.
but I do have to preface it.
Okay.
You need to have another player on the team that is a
Bingo.
secondary ball handler that can close out games, aka Jimmy gets buckets. That is the player that you needed.
Here's where
you let him go to Miami.
Here's where I get into that, though, where you said yes, but you need somebody else.
Yes.
The second question is, do you trust Daryl Morey to possibly deal a Tobias in a deal kind of like how when he dealt Horford? We were like, shit, he fucking dealt Horford? How the fuck did that happen? Do you trust him to do a deal like that to open up space to then maybe sign someone in free agency that would help the team and then add in to Ben and Joe to where it's like, oh shit, we kept Ben and Joe. Morey got it done. We got rid of Toby, and we were able to sign someone to make a big three or the third star that we need.
Well, see, the first thing is when you ask a question, all you have to ask is, do you trust Daryl Morey? And I say yes. Because after you having Elton Brand as our GM for 2 years, I solely trust Daryl Morey in every single thing that he does. And the name that comes up and I've been reading is, if the Wizards continue to sour, if Bradley Beal becomes available, that is the guy that you try and you go. I'm not saying that they would get him, Dave. I'm saying that is the guy that you try and go get because he is.
Sure.
What? I'm not saying.
No, I'm just saying. Yeah, I agree with you. If Bradley Beal's available, you make every possible fucking move for him. I agree. I don't. My problem with that is if the Wizards sour. Like, I think the Wizards with Brody and Bradley Beal are going to play it out.
I could no this year. This is down the road. This
okay. Then yeah, anything could happen. Anything can happen.
I want to say the X factor in all this is the Miami Heat. I don't know if they're brain dead or something, but if they're not willing to trade Tyler Hero to get James Harden, I have serious questions because I understand that Tyler Hero is good. He may be very good. He will never be as good as James Harden is. I'm sorry. That is he is at best a peak Devin Booker, and that is probably what
high praise still. That is high praise.
That is very high praise. But if you are not willing to trade Tyler Hero to get James Harden to play with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, which clearly makes you the best team in the East, then I don't know what you're doing.
I mean, it makes them the best team in the NBA in my mind. I get the LeBron and AD are literally 1-2, 1-3 in most people's top 10 range, which we may hit at some point in the season. But the idea that you have someone who can put up 40 a night, literally 40 a night, and then you have the incredible defensive switchability of the rest of that Miami roster is disgusting.
Yep. I agree. And it also would depend who they give up in the trade. I would assume that it would be Dragic, Hero, and somebody else to make salary work with a crap ton of picks.
Yeah, it might be like Myers Leonard or some shit like that. But yeah.
But I mean, if you're the Rockets, if you're not going to get Ben
Pat
Simmons,
Riley hates draft picks. Remember this story, guys?
Yes. If you're not going to get Ben Simmons from the Sixers, getting Tyler Hero and a bunch of picks is not a bad thing. John Wall and Tyler Hero is a great backcourt to build around. That is a perfect fit next to each other. So the Heat are the X factor in all this. I don't think the Bucks are going to ever make a move for him because I don't think the Rockets are going to want Chris Middleton in return for James Harden.
It's weird to say a team in the West controls the future of the NBA, but it really does feel that way. It feels like the Lakers are the odds-on favorites to win a championship because of Klay Thompson's injury this year.
And just because of how the Clippers sputtered out last year.
The Clippers didn't address their biggest problem. They still have a point guard.
Yeah, I mean, that's
if they got a point guard, it'd be different. They switch head coaches, which is fine.
Yeah,
but they never address their problems. So I understand why the Lakers are what they are, but the Rockets having James Harden on the move literally can change the course of NBA history if they trade him to the Nets, because then the Nets are by just ridiculous standards the favorites to win a championship. They trade him to the Heat, same thing. If somehow the Bucks pull off a deal for Chris Middleton and scraps, great. But it's wild to think about your NBA champion could be decided by a team that's not even close to a championship, you know?
Yep.
No, I get that. And the thing I'm trying to work out right now is basically, so the thing with Tobias's trade that's obviously a linchpin is how big his contract is at $34 million. The thought I had, and this is, I don't think this happens because why would this team want him back after years later? But if I'm the Sixers, I go, okay, either I try to make a deal for James Harden now, or could they be in a chance to where it's okay, we either got one or two things we got to pin down. We either trade Tobias for good enough, I say good enough assets, but assets or maybe expiring contracts in order to take a swing at a Kawhi, because if Kawhi's going to leave LA and yet again,
he's the remaining guy who is up in 2021, correct?
Yeah,
he is the off season.
It's either
we did have a meeting with Kawhi last time.
The top three contracts, of course, they're player ops, are Chris Paul, Kawhi, and Blake Griffin.
Chris Paul and ops.
Those are the top three.
Well, it's crazy. I think Chris Paul could. And again, James Harden turned down $50 million.
Yeah.
So that tells you nothing's off the table. If Chris Paul wants to sign a new max deal, then he'll sign a new max deal.
Besides that, and and I'm thinking free agency. If it's we're gonna
Kawhi
move Toby,
basically the only name left.
Yeah. Ball handlers. It's these are the names: Conley, Lowry, DeMar DeRozan. Let's see, Drew Holiday, but he's a player op and he's gonna stay. Victor Oladipo, Goran Dragic, Dennis Schroeder, and then you start going down into that.
Yeah, it falls off very quickly there.
Can I throw out an idea here?
Go ahead. You are the Sixer fan.
So say you're the Rockets, right? And you're trading James Harden. Maybe you want to reset and you want to get an expiring deal or somebody who has 1 or 2 years left instead of getting Tobias Harris, right? So it's got to be a 3-team trade. Call the Detroit Pistons. Blake Griffin wouldn't be a terrible fit on the Heat Rockets, but also his contract's up next year or the year after.
I mean, he's got a player op, so 2 years at the most.
Detroit really isn't signing any big free agents, right? So they can take on a big contract if they want to.
Yeah.
Would Tobias Harris be a terrible fit in Detroit if they get picks to take him, and if the Rockets would also get would a Tobias Harris to Detroit, Blake Griffin to Houston, and James Harden to Philly? So
you're pairing up Christian Wood and Blake Griffin again?
Yeah. Yep, I am.
I mean, there's not enough room for the both of them. That's clearly what happened. I think that's anti what Detroit wants to do. Detroit wants to flip Blake and Derrick Rose at some point for future assets. They want to suck. No offense.
No, I don't know, because remember Soapy was saying that their owner has said they do not want to suck.
I agree, and I'm 100% with Soapy on this, and this fits their trade up. They would rather make the playoffs and lose in the first round than not make the playoffs and rebuild completely.
And Toby does that.
He does. I hate you for saying that, but he does. But like in my mind, I'm going like the right way to rebuild this team is to let,
you are right, but
Sadiq Bey and why can't I think of his name? Who's drafted last year by them in like top 15?
Sekou Demboya.
Sekou Demboya, thank you. Get all the minutes. Like they need wing minutes left and right out there.
But Toby's a 4, so he's not a wing.
So. He is a wing still.
I mean, hey, he started the 4 today, so he's a 4.
Yeah,
now.
But like Sekou plays the 4 and Sadiq plays the 4.
Oh, so you just play him.
Their young talent is just the wrong spot, unfortunately.
It's just
they could do it. They 100% could. You know the crazy thing, and I know I'm going to sound like an asshole for this, and this is not 76ers related at all, so pardon me. But could Sam Presti get James Harden back?
Yes. I would.
Is it the one that like we're all choosing to ignore who has the most assets in the NBA?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
are the Rockets going to take Al Horford on?
Man, that would be a hell of a flop.
Yeah, imagine if Sam Presti turned Dennis Schroeder into Danny Green into Al Horford into James Harden. I'm sorry.
I mean,
is this just basically going to see Presti versus Morey?
Like, yeah, dude. I mean,
they literally have 37 first-round picks, guys.
But I don't think
do a deal.
I don't think that the point of all gathering all these picks and everything was to go trade for a 30-plus-year-old star. Mm-hmm. I think it's to build around Shea and all that, and hopefully unload Al Horford to get a first-round pick later in the year, which they probably will do because Sam Presti's a fucking wizard.
So I've got a deal, but I don't know if I like it.
Horford's ending up back in Boston, by the way. Just book it.
So
I would love that as a storyline arc. That would be great.
Yeah, he'd be our villain again.
I'm going to throw this out there. I don't know if I like it. It's going off of the 3-team trade that Jake threw out. Which team do you want to hear first? Rockets, Sixers, or Pistons?
Pistons. I want to hear what the Pistons are going to get.
So the Pistons are going to obviously get Toby, Thibault, and Tyrese Maxey.
There's no way that the Rockets get Thibault in that
There's
trade.
part of me that's like, that might be too much, where it's like...
What are the Rockets getting?
The Rockets are getting Blake. I couldn't find anything, unless like a Tyrese or a Maxey goes to Houston in the deal. Or Tyrese or Thibault.
That's two people, man. That's two
people. Matisse is what I meant to say, but I said Maxey. And then the Sixers was D Rose and Harden.
Okay. Jesus.
You get 2 ball handlers.
Okay, but here's the thing. I don't think the Pistons are getting... I think Maxey and Thibault will be headed to Houston. I think Detroit, it basically becomes Tobias Harris for Blake Griffin. That is, and maybe you get a pick along with it. That is the trade that you make to get rid of Blake Griffin to secure a borderline all-star in your starting lineup for the next 4 years. That is,
good point. But yeah, I don't
even
working on it. Like, I don't even know what to.
James Harden's a key piece of that deal, but you have to think the Rockets are willing to move on from Eric Gordon and PJ Tucker as well here. Mm-hmm. So if you need to move some contracts, like I think a lot of teams in the league would love to get involved if they had a shot at a PJ Tucker, including the 76ers. Like he's just one of those great utility pieces who you could throw at anything. So again, it might be a 3-team trade into another trade. Like not everybody's Sam Presti, but I want them to be. It's like I want to trade into a trade maybe.
What is this lineup?
Yeah,
Sorry.
adding in PJ would even make it work too. So like if the Pistons got PJ and Toby, Sixers Derek and James, and then the Rockets Blake, Matisse, and Maxey.
Sorry, I'm just watching the ugliest lineup I've ever seen.
Like contracts work, but at the same time,
watching the Kings Summer League when they played 5 centers.
No, I'm currently watching.
Well, then it's not the ugliest lineup you've ever seen.
I'm currently watching Shake, Thibault, Furkan, Mike Scott, and Dwight Howard play.
Yikes!
I forgot the Sixers got fucking Howard.